Alrighty then, back once again for another reaction. This time it's RWBY Volume 7, Chapter 7, Worst Case Scenario! Yay! And by the way, I did not forget to put little Jessie here. She is taking a walk. Yeah, I didn't forget her. No, that's why she's not here now. I'm not gonna fix a mistake I haven't made. She's out. She'll be back later. But in all seriousness, I was so excited to watch RWBY. I kind of just sat down, got everything out, and just boom, went. So I didn't even set up little Jessie. Like, I know that it doesn't add much to the channel, but now it sort of feels wrong that she's missing. Like, it was just a fun way to bring the hat back that I used to wear. It feels wrong, but RWBY takes precedent at the moment. Like, I didn't know. I'm not bothering with anything else. I'm just gonna sit and watch RWBY because it needs to be done, and I'm enjoying watching it. So that's basically just in case any of you were wondering, because I've used her for quite a few videos now. As for this chapter, it says, "How far would you be willing to go to do what's right?" Which I think has been the theme for RWBY as a whole since Volume 3. And this could apply to many things. How far is RWBY and her gang willing to go? How far is Ironwood going to go? How far is Robin going to go? How far is Jacques going to go? This has every which way possibility of going tits up, and I think it's going to go tits up from all sides, because this is called Worst Case Scenario, which pretty much tells me that there's going to be a lot of messing up on all sides. This is just going to all come tumbling down, comes tumbling down, tumbling down, or however that song goes, and yeah, it's not going to be pretty. Yeah, not pretty at all. I don't know what's going to change, because as was being said, they're going to wake up to a whole new Atlas after the election. Not the least because of what just happened. I think Ironwood is going to have mobs at the door. This is now seen as an attack by his personal robotic soldier, and people are going to treat him like a tyrant now, and they'll want to depose him. They'll want him executed. They'll want him banished or whatever. They'll want Penny destroyed. Like, this is about to snowball, and we've still got the Winter Maiden to deal with. We've still got Cinder and Neo who have yet to show up in this volume. I'm getting kind of worried, actually. Like, where are you guys? Are you just patiently, like, sitting in a cafe somewhere in Mantle? Like, it seems like there's been a lot of grim activity today. What do you think's happening? Oh, right, you can't answer me. But yeah, I'm really hoping Sheep Girl survived. I feel really bad that I never caught her name unless it was never said, because I was really sad to see her struck, and I hope that she's not dead. But if she is, then that's a big RIP to her. I'm sure she was loved by the fans, and that'd be exactly why they did it. Yeah, worst case scenario. I wonder if one of the RWBY gang is going to get hurt, like when Weiss got stabbed. I wonder if something's going to happen to Oscar again. I wonder what Penny is going to do next, because I know she flew off to help fight off some of the Grimm, and that's what everyone else started doing. But what comes after this? Like, what's she going to do? Where's she going to go? I suppose she's just going to go back to Ironwood's side, just because it's the safest place she can be right now. But yeah, worst case scenario. You know, funnily enough, I can't think of what the next step is, but I'm sure they are going to show me. So I'm going to get right into it. Because, like I said, at the end of the previous chapter, I was pretty much instantly ready for the next one. Yeah, poor thing. She's only ever wanted to help. From one robot to another.
Citizens of Mantle, following the most recent Grim attack, a temporary prohibition of assembly is now in effect.
Oh, there's the parent and child from the crowd that was hitting on John.
This is for your own safety.
So now there's a curfew.
Hey,
Wasn't this a little bit ahead of its time?
Stop running! Wait!
Though military officials have gone on record to say the footage was doctored, many citizens are still insisting that the Protector of Mantle be deactivated.
I like the symbolism there with the gate across it. It made it look like prison bars, like to show that she was doing something criminal in the eyes of the citizens. I liked that imagery. I caught that. How it was like prison bars across her face.
Civilian, you are obstructing an Atlas military operation. Please step aside.
Everything all right over here?
Oh, right, the invisible powers. So it's an invisible dome, I see. I did wonder how it affected multiple people before, and you're fine! Thank goodness. She was saved. I'm happy.
This is the worst case scenario.
There we
More
go.
people are dead. Penny's been framed, and somehow Jacques Schnee is sitting on the council.
That's the second shipment for Amity that was hit today. It seems election night was the last push Robin needed to go from hometown hero to full-on vigilante.
I'm afraid the problem is more complicated than that.
It seems Robin has emboldened our suppliers in Mantle. They're refusing to sell us provisions until the city is adequately repaired. With Robin redistributing the goods her team has stolen, the Amity project is completely stalled.
But we're so close. There has to be some way we can finish the tower.
There is. Declaring martial law.
And this...
You're not actually considering that, are you?
This is the last step he never wanted to take.
Establishing communications, unite the world, or appeasing a few city blocks.
Don't make it sound trivial when you know it isn't. You keep talking about how we just need a little more time, but you're not the one having to struggle.
We have all had to make sacrifices for the greater good.
The
Mantle has had to
greater
bear
good.
a lot
Everyone
of the
talks
burden,
about the
yes,
greater
but
good in this
They're bearing
series.
all of it. The longer this waiting game goes on, the harder each day gets for people down there. And now you want to send in more soldiers? You can't force people to fall in line. If you do that, you'll just be trading all of these problems for the Grim.
Nora! Wow.
Please, General Ironwood. Squeezing Mantle this way, that kind of division plays right into Salem's hands. That's why Tyrion is here framing you.
Right. The reason we called you here in the first place. You're sure this was the man you saw?
Tyrion
Very
Cowles
sure.
was accused of murders all across Anima. A homicidal maniac who escaped justice when his prison transport was attacked by Grimm. After that, he was never seen again.
Well, he works for Salem, and he's here.
If we ever had any doubts Atlas was Salem's next target, I think those are officially out the
Crow
window.
and him
But
are
now we
very
have a
personally
suspect.
acquainted.
We can tell the people.
That a long-lost serial killer is loose in Mantle and the military has no idea where he is. Might make things worse before they get better.
I am so sick of secrets. If we just told everyone about Amity, about Salem.
We can't! If we talk about Amity now, we risk Salem's forces, who we know are here, working to sabotage it. If we tell them about Salem now, we risk falling to the Grim before we can reunite Remnant.
This
We
is
have
true.
To finish the tower. I want Robin Hill in custody. We can offer her a deal if she gets Mantle to cooperate.
We'll figure it out.
Anyone not assisting with Robin needs to focus on Tyrion. I want to know who he's working with, where he's hiding, what he's planning.
I
and how
really
exactly
like
that
this.
video of Penny got all over my kingdom. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I have really been loving
Looks like we're approaching 51st.
how they've done Ironwood.
Thanks again for the assist on this, you two. Now we may all be split between different trucks, but we need to be
Think
ready
of
to
what
act as
everyone
one in case
expected of
Robin's
him
team
when he
takes
first
the
showed
bait.
up in volumes
Your truck
2
is
and
hit.
3.
Pursue immediately.
Like, he has
Everyone
betrayed
else will move in as fast
the
as
horrible
possible.
expectations
Going
people
radio
had of
silent.
him.
Over.
He has been very responsible and reasonable. Do you think most general characters would actually listen to what Nora said?
Before he put so much on the line for Amity.
Sounds like you do.
I trust Ruby, but I think he deserves to know what he's stepping into. We all did. You don't agree?
Look around. The embargo, the military presence, the restrictions on assembly. He's a bit prone to overreacting.
Yeah, hard to argue with that. Still, he didn't have a lot of good options.
I'm not sure there are many good options left for any of us anymore. Keeping secrets, taking lives, it makes you wonder how far we're going to have to go to keep doing the right thing.
Blake, we did what we had to do.
Thank you!
I know, but next time, I want to make sure we don't have to.
Oh, I
tell
love
you, ambushing a huntress who's just trying to help isn't an option I'm thrilled about choosing.
I'm so glad.
Then maybe we shouldn't.
Even if it was in passing, I don't care. I don't give two shits. They
How is she doing?
brought up
She's confused.
the regretful feeling that a human would have the first time they take another human's life. They brought up how it was fucked up what they had to do to Adam. Thank you. Thank you. That's all I wanted from them this volume. A little bit of acknowledgement for how that was a very dark, tough thing that not a lot of reactors or fans seem to appreciate.
I think Penny was exactly where they wanted her. Just like at the Vital Festival.
And just like back then, someone is using our own technology against us. This
And your
stock
presence
footage of Penny
isn't
came
wasted
from
on me,
her work
Maria.
all
Hello.
around Manor. Stolen straight from our surveillance network.
Hacking. Technology. Why can't people just do what they used to and fight to the death? A lot simpler if you ask me.
Well, if we're dealing with the same enemy from Beacon, hacking into Manor's system would be simple. Fortunately, the rest of Atlas is running on an upgraded network.
And how would someone get access to that network?
Well, only a few people have clearance. Ironwood, the Council, our cybersecurity and surveillance leads, and maybe a select few who oversee critical systems like sewage or the heating grid.
The heating grid run in partnership with the Schneedas company.
What are you thinking?
I don't know yet, but something isn't right.
Understatement of the century. And how are you doing?
If Maria hadn't offered to help me these past weeks, I'd have likely collapsed by now. Getting a communications
Well, you're
tower
already
in the
sat
sky
down.
Seems impossible on its own, but now, to think of what people want to do to my girl.
Even if the worst does happen, you can always reactivate her again. So maybe try not to worry so much.
There's a reason why Penny is the only one of her kind. When the General first challenged us to find the next breakthrough in defense technology, most of my colleagues pursued more obvious choices. I was one of the few who believed in looking inward for inspiration.
You wanted a protector with a soul.
I did. And when General Ironwood saw her, he did too. Much to my surprise, the Penny Project was chosen over all the other proposals.
Why would you be surprised? You created an artificial aura.
Not quite.
No.
You gave her part of yours?
Yes. And each time I rebuild Penny, it takes a little more. If the people get their wish and she's destroyed...
So that's
I
why
won't
he's
be
weak.
able to...
My gosh.
We'll find whoever's responsible.
I promise.
Wow, that's a hell of a father's love, by the way. Giving his own life force to give Penny life. That's
Scramble! No, wait! Split up and regroup at the hideout.
Oh, of course, convenient traffic. Spider Blake does whatever a Spider Blake does.
Please stop. We just want to.
Ah, yes, semblance. Oh, I love when these two do all of this kung fu flipping around.
If Ironwood wants me, he'll have to send more than a couple of kids.
He is. Stopping the trucks alerted the Aesops. We don't have long before they arrive, so please listen to us. You need to know the truth.
You're stalling.
Amity Coliseum, all these supplies, they're for a new communications tower.
That doesn't make any sense.
A new tower means the kingdoms can
I know
finally...
what the tower means, fisticuffs.
Fisticuffs.
One of you take my hand.
What?
You said time is short. Either take it, or I'm gone.
Well.
Tell me again. What is Ironwood building out in the tundra?
Can she tell if you're telling the
new
truth?
Communications tower. He's trying to help everyone.
You're telling the truth.
Oh, what a cool power!
Keep that a secret.
Because he doesn't know who he can trust. Atlas isn't out to get anybody. The people murdering civilians in Mantle are just trying to make it look that way. And if those same people learned about Amity, they'd do everything in their power to destroy it.
So who are they? Who's actually behind this?
Yang, Blake, where are you?
We can't tell you that part yet.
Bullshit.
Look, we are trusting
Bullshit.
you. Trust us when we say that Amity Tower needs to stay a secret until it's done. We just need a little more time.
Interesting.
We'll throw them off.
This is getting some really interesting
I
layers.
won't stop until I know the whole truth.
Robin actually knows some of it now. This is one of the things I would not expect.
It's right behind that door.
The Staff of Creation.
Oh, this is the
I
vault.
helped bring you down here in my jog some memories. After all, it was your idea to use the staff to lift Atlas off the ground.
I thought gravity dust kept Atlas afloat.
That's the public story. But with the staff, we have a constant, seemingly limitless energy source. Oz once speculated it could take us as high as we wanted. To tell
Okay.
you the truth, that served as the inspiration for the Amity Project.
So if
Getting
this
communication
staff,
power up in the sky, higher than the Grim can survive, so we never lose contact with
so
each
if
other
this
again.
staff is taken away,
You're not using the staff
is
to
Atlas
raise
going to
Amity.
crash to the
staff can only
ground?
be used for one purpose at a time. We're going to have to do Amity the old-fashioned way, dust and all.
It feels strange.
But
knowing a part of me helps come up with all this.
If the
You'll get
staff
used to
is
it,
snatched
I'm
away
sure.
by the end of volume, is
Eventually,
Atlas
you'll even know
crashing
who's
to the
doing
ground?
Right.
We did know we see eye to eye, but I wish I could ask Ospin what he thought of all this.
Well, I can tell you what I think. The path you're heading down, where you're the only one with the answers, where you do the thing you think is right no matter the cost, it's not going to take you anywhere good.
We have to stop Salem. Nothing matters more.
You see, as far as
Some
general
things matter
characters go,
I think. Keeping our humanity. It's what makes us different from her.
I love that he listens.
Sometimes I worry that's her greatest advantage. Without humanity, does she still feel fear? Does she ever hesitate? When Salem hit Beacon, even with all my ships, all of my soldiers, I was no match for her. I've never felt so helpless. The way she told me she was there.
Yeah, you are just pawns in my plan. But, you know, how many general characters listen
it's
like
okay
this?
to be afraid. You just can't let that fear control you.
I am not going to end up like Lionheart. Do you believe in me?
I do believe in you. But not only you. I think the best thing you could do is sit down and talk with the people you're most afraid to.
Now you are starting to sound like him.
You see, I can't get over how different he is to the typical general character that we would have expected him to be from his first appearances, and how this goes in most shows. I'm sure by now you know what I'm on about.
Winter, what is it?
He's so much more human. I can see why people are saying this volume turned Ironwood into their favourite character.
What's going on?
It looks like you're getting your wish.
My father's first act. We've all been invited to dinner.
That
where the
explains the
general will be
title of the
defending
next
his seat
chapter.
on the council.
Yeah, the next chapter is titled Cordially Invited. So that's what that's all about. Okay. Let me just skip through this episode a little bit to remind myself of everything that's been happening. Oh, wow. So, yeah, I really enjoyed that Nora got this big, angry, sick of the secrets moment and actually talked him out of martial law for now. She actually got to voice a strong opinion to him, and he was like, head in his hands, like, well, what the hell am I gonna do? And they were actually discussing what was gonna happen, and he was like, well, the only thing left that makes any form of cohesive sense is to just focus on the tower, like full speed ahead. Just the tower, the tower, the tower. That's all that matters right now. I appreciate it. I appreciate that this has been given so much thought in universe. There's so many series that wouldn't bother. They wouldn't bother. Yet we keep getting the nitty-gritty here. I know that some people who are only interested in action might call this volume boring or something. Like, oh, I don't want to just watch characters talking for half an hour. Like, why don't you shut up for a minute and actually listen to what's being said? How about that? Like, this is a story, and a story involves dialogue and narration. Who'd have thought? Like, you know, it's not really a story if it's 100% fights all of the time. That just makes it an action movie which doesn't require any writing at all. Like, this is a series and it has a story to tell, obviously, and I think especially in this volume they're telling it really well, at least based on my personal taste. I really appreciate that we got a little bit of extra sacrifice for the way Penny is and how she can be brought back. It's because she's fueled by his aura. I know you can't see it, but I'm pointing to Penny's father. I should have said that. That is such a sweet and selfless method of creation. So he really is her father because it's literally a part of himself. That is great on both a symbolism front and a self-sacrifice and love front. That makes their bond so precious, and I'm glad that Maria made an appearance. I'm so glad she didn't just disappear. And I'm also so glad that the little sheep girl survived. And speaking of that group, I was very surprised that Robin, through meeting Yang and Blake, has been informed a little bit on what's going on and why these resources have been directed towards Amity is to do with the communications. And she has a truth semblance. Wow, a little bit of a lie detector through your aura. So I'm assuming green for correct and red for lying. That's so cool. And how she was even so shocked that wasn't just some baloney excuse. That's literally what Ironwood's doing. And so that's going to make her question things. And I'm hoping this means that she's going to team up with the heroes near the end of the volume. Like, to, like, push Salem's forces away. Because the only other outcome I see happening for this volume is that the staff gets taken away, and because that's currently being used, if I'm understanding the conversation correctly in the vault, if that's currently being used to float Atlas off the ground without the assistance of dust, if that's stolen, then isn't Atlas going to come crashing to the ground and destroy both Mantle and Atlas? Is Atlas going to cease to be a country? Like... Wouldn't that be the wildest irony, that they've spent quite a while as the youngest but wealthiest nation and got too big for their boots, and then just like Icarus flying too close to the sun, their wings burned up and they fell to the ground? Like, what if that is what's going to happen to Atlas? Like, they got too full of themselves, flew close to the sun, crashed to the ground. That's what I see the symbolism being if the staff, like I say, is responsible for keeping the Atlas part up, and if it's taken away, it'll fall. So that's my thoughts on that. But oh my goodness, speaking of Yang and Blake, though, I am grateful. Oh, so grateful. I mean, I wish it would have shown up a little bit sooner. I know that at the end of Volume 6, Ruby was like, hey, it's not your fault. Like, but... And then Wise was like, I can't even imagine being in that situation. So, but I wanted a little bit more. This chapter gave me a little bit more. And Blake was saying, like, she never wants to have to. She never wants to have to. Because that's something I've always accepted and encouraged about the Adam scene. It was self-defense. Like, he was going to keep coming at them. It was, in the scenario, justified to go for the kill because that was the only way they were getting out of that situation. He wouldn't stop. That's just a fact. He wouldn't stop until he was put down. But the fact that it felt bad is all I was looking for. Like, a lot of people were saying, this is extra... This vindicates me a lot. This justifies me a lot. Because something I got annoyed with in previous Volume 6 talk, back around the time Volume 6 was coming out, or when it had just finished, a lot of people were saying that they wouldn't feel anything at all for that because Adam was a piece of shit, and that it was something to celebrate. You do not understand human psychology very much, do you? Like, no matter what kind of piece of shit this man was, no matter how you think you would act in such a scenario, unless you are a psychopath, taking someone else's life is going to affect you. And I don't care for these people that say, oh, well, I shot a burglar to death in my house as soon as I saw his silhouette. I don't feel anything. You're a psychopath. I'm sorry. I don't care if I offend you. Based on my personal moral beliefs, if you don't feel an inkling of regret or pain or sorrow upon taking the life of another person, no matter how evil they may be, you are a psychopath, according to me. And I don't care if that offends you. And it's like the people that say, oh yeah, is that man a paedophile? Oh, give me him in a room with 5 minutes with a hammer. I'll sort him out. Like, if you could stand over a helpless person and bash them with a hammer no matter what they did, you're a psychopath. That's probably going to be controversial, so if I get dislikes on this video, I'll know they're from psychopaths. But, back to this. I need to get back on topic now. Yeah, good semblance with the invisibility sphere. I did start to wonder previously why two different people were cloaked invisible. I was thinking, well, how does this work if it's only one person's semblance at work? Is this some kind of Atlas technology? But now it makes a lot more sense that it was a dome and invisibility. That was cool. And yeah, I think that was about it. yeah, this was more of a dealing with the aftermath of what happened in the previous chapter. And like I said, the main things I took away from this was Nora yelling at Ironwood and getting him to listen and reevaluate their priorities. Really liked how Robin has been let in on the plan a little bit, so that she's going to have some doubts about what she's going to do going forward and whether or not she wants to listen to Ironwood. Blake and Yang actually acknowledged the fucked upness of what they had to do to Adam. Like, they acknowledged that it was pretty changing for them to have taken a life, and I'd like to think that's why they have been a little overly giddy and playful so far this volume. I know that I saw in the comments under the episodes, because I'm on the Rooster Teeth website, a lot of people were saying about how, oh wow, this is so cringe, why are they just shoving it in our faces, like it just doesn't feel natural. Like, with all the goofing around that they were doing with the selfies and the open flirting and stuff. And now I'm thinking, what if that's intentional? Like, I don't feel that way, by the way, but if I just can't help but think, even if certain people found it cringe or forced, I'm wondering, would that be intentional? Because if it's still weighing on their mind, that's what we in the business call putting up a front. They're putting up a happy front, but on the inside they're still quite troubled. And that is actually pretty realistic. And I suddenly really like how goofy they've been so far, because if it meant that they were covering up, still being shook up from what happened, that not only makes perfect sense, but also gives me extra respect for the character writing in general. Like, just this little scene in this chapter explains and justifies so much that it's inconceivable. Like I say, I'm taking a personal victory here that they are feeling these feelings about what happened and how that's so awful. I never want that to happen again. It really spits in the face of the amount of people I saw from Volume 6 going on and on about how they have nothing to feel guilty about and this will never be brought up again, and like, oh, they should be celebrating it. No, they won't be, because they're decent human beings and fairness, but you know what I mean. You know. Oh boy. So yeah, this was the worst case scenario, and true to form, this seems like the worst case scenario. And we are cordially invited to Jacques' little gathering. We'll see how that goes. I'll see you guys next time.